Hello friends, and welcome to Essential Racing Strategies. Get those pencils out and make them as sharp as possible. It's class time. What is Essential Racing Strategies all about? This is a video series dedicated to helping racers improve their ability to race against other drivers in Gran Turismo Sport Mode. Right now, we find ourselves on episode 6, which focuses on the mindset you should employ while racing in B-rated lobbies. This is the final of 3 episodes that pertained specifically to B-ranked drivers. If you are coming across this series for the first time right now, I do encourage you to take some time to look over these previous episodes as they are all building upon each other. On the previous episode that focused on our mindsets, which was through the E through C lobbies, we stated that the focus needs to be on yourself, not on others. To be disciplined in what you can control and not worry about what you can't control. All of that really does still apply to the max in B-rated lobbies. And now we are going to add some more strategies to help you mentally get to the next level. The overall mentality that we want to engage in for our B-rated lobbies, I don't think this will be a very popular one. And you may want to stop watching this as soon as I say it. But I will ask you to hear me out at least, and then make up your mind at the end. And of course, a really good option might be to voice your opinions and experiences in the comments below. So here it is, without further delay. The mindset that we are proposing is give without expecting to receive. What do we mean by this? Well, we mean be a giver, not a stealer, not a taker by force. Areas in which we can give are like give space to other drivers. Give positions back when you've gained it by contact or pushing to pass. Give other racers the benefit of the doubt, at least in the beginning. Don't automatically assume the worst of others, until maybe proven otherwise. Give time for yourself to gain positions. Now, granted, I am using the word give in a multifaceted way, but as we break all of these different strategies down that we want to apply to our mindsets, I think you're going to find this all pretty helpful. Now, I will acknowledge that at the outset, this might seem like a really bad deal for you. It might sound like the biggest, largest bucket of bogus you've ever heard. And I get it. I understand why. Because the overwhelming majority of racers in B-rated lobbies are not going to treat you with the same respect or have anywhere near the same approach. Well, with that in mind, let me ask you a really important question. Do you want to just be like everyone else on track? Or do you want to be different? What we are proposing today in this episode is a different way on how you mentally approach the B-rated lobbies. Looking at the previous 2 episodes that dealt with B-ranked drivers, your weekly objectives, and your top priority, you pretty much have those down, let's say. And it is even possible that this episode might be the most crucial for you to advance to A rank and stay there. For me personally, this mentality was one of the most crucial in advancing to A rank and staying there. Certainly, I do not do this perfectly, and I would not presume or expect you to think that I do. But it is how I aim to think. So what does it look like to have a giver mentality while racing? Let's check it out. Mentally understand that not every corner is an opportunity to pass. You don't have to win the race, and races aren't won or lost in the first few laps. Calculated patience is truly the key in lobbies, and patience will pay off in the long run. There's a mixture of less skilled and dirty drivers on the track with you, and the aggressive nature of the B-rated drivers will often cause them to finish lower on the grid, if not ruin their own race altogether, with their own mistakes, or even by their own demonstrations of dirt, shall we say. Don't be one of them. Rather than that, use your patience and pick your times well to pass. Furthermore, speaking of dirt, commit to ignoring the dirty driving, even when the dirt has been done to you. Just because there is a magnificent amount of dirty and careless driving going on around you, this doesn't mean that you have to participate in it. Even when you are the victim You don't have to participate in it. What we discussed back in episode 3, it certainly carried over into the B lobbies. Now it is actually, I would say, paramount that you stay disciplined. Look, I totally understand. I get it. We want justice. We want it instantly. And we want it by our own hands, as soon as possible when we are wronged. But I guarantee you, either in the short term or the long term, it's not worth it. How often have you taken your own frustrations out on someone else, only to ruin your own race further with a pen or a spin or a crash? It can be so hard to keep your composure in these types of scenarios where people are willfully coming after you, not giving you space, even when you have passed cleanly and you've done everything right. It still doesn't matter for some folks, whether you've had a bad day, I don't know, but incidents like these where you've done everything you should do and they just keep coming at you. What should we do? How should we handle it? Well, I would advise that we ignore it. Don't get involved. Yes, there can be absolute filth on the track. We can see it. It happens on a regular basis. People will try to take you out on the straightaway, giving you damage. Just hold your ground. Stay the course. You'll gain positions, as I do here. In fact, in this sequence of 2 laps. Not even 2 laps. When I get spun, when I get knocked into a wall, when I get punted into orbit, you know what my favorite thing to do is? It is to hopefully catch up to that same person. Hang in their mirrors for a while and make them sweat. And then I like to proceed to pass them as cleanly as possible. It really is the best feeling. You know why? Because when you do that, or when you're able to do that sort of thing, you have proven that not only are you the better racer, but the better person also. Next, a really crucial strategy that we want to employ mentally. When another driver passes you, avoid getting hyper-focused on gaining the position back. Some of you watching and listening to this right now, you may know exactly what I'm talking about just by saying that. But just in case, I'll explain a little bit further. It can be very tempting once you get past to start looking to get that position at all costs as soon as possible. I've experienced this myself. I feel that tension. I feel that buildup of maybe frustration or desire to get that position back. And I've watched others as well while on stream, seeing others succumb to this. Mentally, we need to be disciplined to avoid this for, I would say, 3 primary reasons. Making your focus catching the car ahead of you almost always guarantees you won't catch him. Having a laser focus on the car ahead usually results in driving towards apexes, narrowing your entrances, and compromising exit speed. This is making you slower, and the cars ahead of you are most likely pulling away. Next reason for this is focusing on your driving is what actually makes you faster. No matter what has happened around you, whether someone is catching you or someone is pulling away, or whether you've just gotten passed by someone else, either by a dirty fashion or not, while on track, your focus has to be always on your braking points, turn-in points, acceleration points. That is how you are fast. That is how you maintain race pace. By doing this, you are actually increasing your chances of catching the competition, simply as a natural result of maintaining consistent racecraft. Next, pushing to get the position back can sometimes result in serious mistakes. Really, a little bit ago, we mentioned the best possible outcome of vigorously attempting to regain positions. It just makes you slower. But there is a worst case scenario here too. Mentally struggling with getting past can cause you to make critical errors, mistakes, acquiring pens, spinning, crashing, and losing possibly even more positions. Now, this next mentality is a tough one, but it is really worth it. Be committed to giving positions back if you hit someone off track. One of the best ways to gain the respect of other racers is being willing to let the person back past you after you have accidentally hit them off. I know it is hard. Trust me, there have been times where I didn't really want to wait up. There have also been times where I have erroneously not waited up. But when it is genuinely your fault, you got to make it right. You can't go back and redo, right? There is no retry and the game resets to that point right before you made the mistake. So what's the next best thing? Well, the next best thing is to offer the spot back to them. And consider this. If you do hit someone off and you don't give the position back, then it looks like you did it on purpose, or that you don't care. Sure, you did it by accident, but then it looks like you don't care. Do you want to be thought of in either of those lights? Even an apology after the race, when you didn't wait up and didn't give the position back, it sounds hollow. It sounds insincere. I've been the recipient of many such empty apologies, and they don't make me feel very good. But here's an example of something entirely different. Here I get hit, and I gotta admit, I was so hot at this point. It's early in the race, we're trying to keep up with traffic, and I'm thinking all kinds of bad things, and then he gives the spot right back. That cooled me off so much. But check this out. It's not over. So later in the race, a little bit down here, we end up racking up a few pens. So I take that too tightly there, rack up a half second, and then down here at the last turn, we end up going too wide there as well. And so I get a 1.5-second penalty, and at this point, I'm totally fine with, we've had our race, we've had many laps now. Except he's not done. I serve my penalty, he gets by, and look at this. He gives the position back. You know what I immediately did after this race? I friend requested this guy. I had such an awesome feeling after this race. Wouldn't you want to be the type of person that gives that kind of feeling to others as well? This is one of those things that will not be done often for you. Eventually, when you get to A rank, you will start to see this reciprocated. You will experience this done for you on a more regular basis. Not always, but more. This third mentality is connected to the previous one, in that it helps you avoid having to give positions back so often. What do we mean? Well, we mean by this. Be committed to avoiding contact when following other drivers that slow unexpectedly. So we are talking specifically here about when trailing a car or a group of cars. It is always the responsibility of the driver behind not to hit the car in front. When following someone and getting closer, what we're talking about in this mentality is always be ready to lift off the gas when you normally wouldn't lift. Be ready to brake earlier when perhaps you wouldn't normally brake. People could end up slowing down at any moment for a variety of reasons, and it is your responsibility as the car behind not to make contact. Admittedly, the hardest thing about doing this is it kills your momentum. That momentum that you rightfully earned, right? You took the turn well, you got good exit speed, and now suddenly it's being taken from you. I know, that's hard, that's difficult. But it is more worth it to do that than to end up crashing the person in front of you. By utilizing this mental approach, you will be hitting people far fewer times in a given race. Those hits are costing you race pace at best, positions, and at worst, causing you or others to crash. Now, let's get to our key points to drive home as we attempt to put all of this together. Firstly, we're talking about mentally ignore the dirty and careless driving of others. Dirty and careless driving is definitely an integral part of many of your competitors. You don't have to respond in kind. Ignore it. Don't be a part of it. You will become a better racer for it, and you will show you are the better person. Next key point is approach the races by letting it come to you. What do I mean by this? Well, the opposite of this is to aggressively obtain positions and retake positions that you've lost. That mentality leads directly to loads of tension, disappointment. Like we talked about in episode 5, you need to be opportunistic. The mentalities of not trying to pass on every corner, not being hyper-focused on regaining positions that you've lost, and watching carefully for slower and slowing traffic ahead of you will almost always result in you gaining positions. Last key point to drive home, which basically is summing everything up together, is mentally commit to being a giver. Look, I admit, I know, this sounds kind of ridiculous. It sounds like the perfect way to be constantly bullied on track. But trust me, it's not. Right now, there are well over 100,000 drivers in Gran Turismo 7 that actively participate in sport mode and are B ranked. This represents the highest population of active drivers that sport mode has. And the vast majority of them, for lack of a better way of putting it, are destroying each other in the dailies every week. Typical that maybe the top 2 or 3 that are racing have decent times and respect is shown, and good racing can happen, but you get farther back in the grid, and it is mostly agony, and doesn't look like fun at all to me. Do you want to just continue to be a taker? Do you really want to just be like everyone else and stay at this level? Mentally, it is going to take something drastically different to get out of these lobbies. Yes, being faster and more consistent will help, but it might not be enough. Likely, it won't be enough. Can I just speak from the heart for a second? Mine to yours. I've watched how these lobbies have gone with fresh eyes, as I've used my Ledpencil account to race with all the B-ranked drivers. I've been the recipient of many a careless and dirty move. I cannot imagine that folks in these lobbies are having a good time. I love this game. I love sport mode. The competition is amazing. The friendly rivalries that blossom are incredible. I see very little of that in the B-rated lobbies. It's not completely absent, but it's less frequent. I'm going to put out a call. I'm going to put out a call to all B-ranked drivers. Stop destroying each other's races. Stop intentionally wrecking other people. What I would love to see is all the players that want to get better, that are B right now and make it to A, I want to see you get there. I want more people to have intense but clean racing. But that requires a serious change. If you are a B-ranked driver, you can be a part of that change. I would hope that we could fill the A ranks with tens of thousands of you, because you've employed many of these strategies we've discussed in this episode and the previous ones. Wouldn't it be awesome to see a huge shift from many of you racing cleaner, racing better, getting to A rank, and there's just a bunch of you there having awesome races, respecting each other, getting better. Yeah, that would be cool. I could go on and on about this, as it's a really important subject to me, but that's going to have to do it for this episode of Essential Racing Strategies. And this also concludes the episodes focusing on B-ranked drivers. When we get together next time, we'll begin a section of 3 episodes, all focusing on A-ranked drivers and talking about your weekly objectives. I'm looking forward to these episodes, as so much of what we've learned pertains still, and the strategies that we have to implement are going to be a blast to talk about. Until then, friends,